So, you guys absolutely killed it in views and likes on the last NGS video. Like, 1K views is something I'd expect on occasion on my anime channel. Are we all kind of on the same page here regarding this game? If you watch or know of Blame Truth, aka The Codfather, he basically runs Activision and Call of Duty through the mud. It is not my intention to do that with this game and Sega. I don't think it's necessary. That being said, I still have a lot I want to yap out and get off my chest. Yeah, I kinda like that. Hope he won't mind me borrowing his catchphrase for a video. Alright, let me preface. About a week and a half ago, I was watching one of Spikesxu's videos, specifically where he goes over how unprofessional the global team for this game is, and the mind-boggling, stellar failures in communication and the sheer amount of shade they threw his way. That video is titled, and I quote, "I'm leaving Sega's official PSO2 NGS program due to incompetency and poor management." Doesn't that just say it all? I really hate to say I'm right regarding some of the things I talked about in my last few NGS videos, but I was right. I'll try to break Spike's video down as best I can, but it all started after he didn't receive his premium benefits or being an official creator for this game. Well, it does seem like a rather special little benefit official content creators, OCCs, get. It highlights a bigger problem within the game's communication with its players, especially its creators. Like, Spikesxu was the only one keeping it real when it comes to this game. No, I did not hop on a bandwagon. My thoughts and opinions are my own, but that doesn't mean someone else doesn't feel the same way. The only OCCs I watch for this game are Kuropi, and that's pretty much it. But after what Sega did to Spikes, I'm giving that man my full support. With all 28 of my subscribers over here, plus the 880 some odd on my anime channel, new video over there soon, just been working through some health troubles lately. Aside from all that, things only ended up devolving further, and he really offered insight into a side of this game I didn't know existed. Now, there's an official server for OCCs, and they have their own contact through there, etc, etc. Well, he reached out to this person. He was essentially run in circles for months about the state of his OCC premium benefits. He was polite, didn't throw anyone under the bus, and was genuine, even offering some ideas for the game and areas to improve. This exchange went on for months, and by the time April rolled around, to say he'd had enough of the lack of communication and the shade Sega, maybe not the JP side, but more so global, through would be an understatement. To make matters worse, when he went to check the OCC's list that Sega publishes, he found himself magically not on that list despite being an OCC for the game. His first thoughts for me was just a mix-up of some sort, but I don't think anyone's ever gonna know. Unless he got his reason, and it would be perfectly acceptable to keep that private and just hasn't shared. I just don't think Sega wants to open that can of worms. Like, they want people to hype this game up, but what is there to hype anymore? So that's the gist of it, but I highly recommend you watch the whole video. It's probably pretty tough just having to abandon something being like an OCC for this game after doing it for so long, but I think this whole thing just highlights several problems. The first, and most prominent, being the sheer lack of communication from the global team on this game. In no world should a developer and their teams just stop communicating with their player base, especially when honesty is on the line, and yes, that's another issue Spikes touched on. Development cycles get rough, and I get that. You don't always vibe with what's going on or the people around you, and to expose that never looks good, but it shouldn't affect the state of the game itself. But I was right about the decline in players. Essentially, what this whole situation tells me is that they don't like the direction some of Spike's content was headed, because they want someone to hype, in quotes, the game up, and pointing out its flaws and the failure of the developers to fully realize this game's potential doesn't do that. Sega is aware that this game is bleeding players, and if the ship isn't righted soon, more than 3/4 of this game's original player base won't be coming back. Everyone I talk to is either burnt out, or there is a deep-seated anxiety that we might have to go through the region updates all over again for a second time, as in we never actually leave Alpha, either in space or some other dimension. Here's the thing that will really shock you though. Spikes was asked to take one of his videos down from someone on the global team. Rightfully, he said no, but that should piss everyone off. Not only is that devious and inherently poor-mannered, it brings to light the fact that this game is headed in the wrong direction, especially if official Sega employees are asking creators to take videos down. Whoever that person was needs to be fired, and the marketing department needs an immediate revamp. You want to support your game? Start by accepting feedback from all kinds of sources, people, and views. But you won't because you stopped caring after the initial 2.0 update 2 whole summers ago now. Anyone feel old yet? I was perusing the global Discord server for the game yesterday, Wednesday, May 28th, and saw someone I'd never seen before. So I tapped on their game, and you won't believe me when I say they apparently have a role in the official NGS Twitter X account. They had the role and everything. Guys, the marketing team is getting chummy with the players instead of using the social media accounts they're getting paid to update and post on. Oh man, like, that should not be a visible role because, well, most people are behaved, they're not stupid. There is so much you guys could be doing, and if it's a Sega management issue, call it out. Be a whistleblower for the game, be completely anonymous, or spill the deets in my email for God's sakes. You will remain completely anonymous, and if you want to be even more cautious, spill the deets under a fake name and I'll keep the fake name anonymous too. Like I said in my last NGS video, I'm not afraid to say things like they are. I may be one person, but I have a right to free speech, and so do you. I get to let loose over here compared to my anime content. Global receives zero support. Let's just say it for what it is. If you watch the end of the most recent headline wave, notice how Yui included, unless purposefully kept hidden, absolutely nothing from Global. The mention of Ship 6, a Japanese server, just goes to show that this side of the game has a serious lack of moderation and discipline, and is probably the reason for the Sega account linkage rollout. Give the global version of the game to another publisher. Someone will take care of us because it's inherently obvious that Sega will not. Right now, the relationship between Sega themselves and Global feels like that one awkward kid on the playground in middle school everyone avoids. So they go through all public school completely alone with no friends, or they make friends with other outcasts. Since I'm on the topic of the headline wave, let's talk about that for a minute. June looks stacked, and if they do this right, the origins of the weird gravity in Retem and the Crimson Realm might finally be revealed, which could send the story in a direction no one saw coming, and honestly, NGS needs to go shock and awe at this point. Pull off something that is so out there and so cooked that even Crawford comes to the screen and pats you on the back. The addition of mini episodes to show some character growth and move the story along more frequently is a good change, and I think half a step in the right direction. A full step would be more than biannual main story updates. In fact, 2024 only received one main story update, I believe. Like I said in my comment on the headline wave video itself though, content from here on needs to focus on story elements and not become meat grinder PA spamming repetition. While Call of Duty can get away with their meat grinder maps like Shipment and, dare I say, Meat, yes, that was an actual map, you cannot with NGS. It would be one thing if you adjusted the loot pool so I don't have to spend 5 minutes sifting through junk like Gold Prim Swords and Armor, not Gold Prim 2, mind you, and literal level 1 augments like Alt Soul 1 and other crap. It's another thing to have meat grinder content and LTQs where this useless stuff does drop. While I like the competitive aspect of the latest Kvaris LTQ, there needs to be more parameters for making it onto the leaderboard and more replacements than just number 1. Yeah, it's fun finally having the gear to finally get first place in these things. But when I'm not first, what am I? How close at first or second or third was I? Or how many weapon actions or sidesteps did I use? This is a baseline of things to add to make the competition more enticing, plus it gives people a reason to play. I also noticed Grand Treasure Keeper 1's drop, albeit rarely, but the Domina drops are huge. I wasn't expecting that. Still, it doesn't make up for this utterly useless SG support scratch. Look at this thing. Like, 90% of the stuff in here is already on the gear you can either get from the event shop or the Meseta shop. Yes, really. Like, you really gave free-to-play players a massive middle finger, and not the less vulgar middle finger used in Japan, the Western one, because the first AC Scratch ticket is a new AC support scratch with largely augments that, as of 24 hours ago at the time of writing, were selling for 40 million Meseta. Even if those prices have halved by the time this video goes up, that's still 20 million in augment. You're absolutely insane if you think anyone's buying that. Again, I think whales need to be timed out from player shop usage or banned altogether, for the most egregious offenders. Other than giving us a spreadsheet of every item's maximum possible preset value, and that cap implemented in-game, I can't think of another way to get it through people's heads that this needs to stop. Getting back on track here, the fashion looks absolutely insane for June, and I don't know what changed, but maybe someone finally commissioned people who knew what good fashion looked like. I have no qualms with giving it a sci-fi twist, but dear god, the fashion for the last year and a half has been so dry. The better fashions really started with the Neon Punk items, but the Enchanted Force scratch was an incredible scratch. High heel fashion is so elegant, and we really need more of it for the T2 characters and players. NGS, PSO in general, is a futuristic game. Please get creative with things. For players who really want to look nice, high heel fashions really tend to be some of the best. Please add more. I think I speak for most fashionistas when I say we're all tired of flat shoes and sandals. The Sonic LTQ, the Alien one, is also back starting the second week of June, which is literally my favorite LTQ ever. There's just something about running and jumping around for the rings and Chaos Emeralds that is so fun and breaks the monotony. That's probably where you'll find me, the rehashed Alien LTQ, not the Sonic one. However, please keep that one forever. I don't care. Was disappointing because we just had that same LTQ but with Next Alio. I have to type that in all caps because I hate Rezel Forest for quests and such. It gives me Taisa weapon flashbacks. The same Taisa weapons that never dropped for me until after Flugelguard. I'm wary of the new 13-star weapons because those drop rates will be the lowest they've ever been, I'm sure. Somehow I'll still convince myself that I'll get one eventually and be able to sell it for a nice sum. Love that copium juice. The Prograde armors should be craftable. If players have to re-augment their armors, that just won't happen. Considering the fact that they're named after the Prograde grinders gives me hope that these will be craftable in some way and we won't have to lose our augments. Call me crazy for trying to get rid of all my LC augments for Grand Dread, Keepers, Lux, and Grand augments, but the grind is something to do while I also convince myself the game is finally headed in the right direction. As long as the desync remains as bad as it is, though, in quite a few instances, I'm probably kidding myself. Aside from all of the headline wave stuff, there still remains a lack of challenging content for players that want a challenge. Dual quests were a start, but most players were locked out because the boss enemies hit so hard, and you had to craft entire new weapons lest you replace your current best and slot augments for ones that only worked for dual quests. To this day, I think about how poor of a game design decision that was. It didn't make anyone want to play the dual quest because they were impossible to clear. The crazy part is that now we have an augment that works on all the dual quest phases, but that doesn't fix what was broken now that the current gear can slap these things around like Will Smith at the Grammys. The new Vile Urchin quest and Standing quest looks insanely difficult, but that's going to incentivize players to try it since we've had so much time and resources to upgrade our gear. How do our current loadouts stack up against the competition now? But it has to be more than Vile. There has to be more content that gives veteran and even casual players a real challenge. I've talked to people who have fallen out of love with NGS because everything is geared towards casual play aside from the Malevolent Dark Falls, all of them UQs, and even those are leaving in less than a week. They go back to what I presume will be trigger quests. This video and the one before this one regarding NGS lay out a nice blueprint to get things moving in the right direction. And I think we're finally nudging our feet that way, but there's a lot of players who have given up because the developers and global teams have given up. Remember when the letter from the developers was an apology for the state of NGS? I believe this was a little after the 2.0 update. If it was bad then, and you stopped playing then, it hasn't gotten much better. If the Crimson Realm stuff leaves in a week or two again and we don't see it again for a year or more, honestly, no mention or lore of it after just a month would be incredibly detrimental. We take 3 steps back. Players like Crimson Realm, and I type the word like in all caps because it's true. I said this in my comment too, but content needs to be lore and story-based for the most part. It's perfectly fine to get creative and mix things up. The Sonic LTQs are an excellent example of this. But again with the meat grinder stuff, there has to be more to it than just a glorified Dolls Annihilation simulator. What have we been doing for the last 4 years if that's the case? Whatever happens, you made it to the end of the video. Congrats. Use my email to drop some spicy tea for me so I can cover that in a future video. Well, look, someone has to be the voice of reason here, and I prefer to do it with good commentary that isn't just you staring at my face for 10 minutes. Sorry, I'm trying to find what kind of footage works best for certain parts of these videos, but they definitely won't be the same editing style as my Silver Palace video. I yapped for 50 minutes and cut it down to 17 minutes. That was painful, and in more ways than one. I don't want a creator title over my head. Sega definitely wouldn't accept my application I put in anyways, even if I had the subscriber and view counts. There's an entire comment section for you to let me know what you think, and if you agree or disagree, I try to read and reply to all of them. Additionally, if you see me in game, just say hi. I promise I'm very friendly. I just want to turn my brain off and enjoy the game and talk to my friends, which are few and far between since everyone keeps leaving the game. I'd rather be the person whose name people recognize and know who they are. OCCs are too afraid to be critical. All they want to do is put the game on a pedestal without offering any constructive feedback or criticism. The game won't survive like that. NGS Global, you guys need to up your damn game. If you can't get information out through official NGS channels and socials, find another way. Use Google Sites for a free subdomain. If it has good information and looks nice and professional, no one will care if it has a .googlesites.com or whatever subdomain name. If you want to pay the fee for an official domain, I won't stop you, but someone needs to communicate with players. Is David the only mod that posts in the official Discord anymore? Not that he seems to talk to anyone, but I'm sure he has a life of his own to live. Though Sega could very easily lighten his load with more people. I'd sigh into the microphone, but you probably wouldn't hear it. Drop something spicy in my inbox. I'm serious. I don't know what my next topic on this game will be yet, maybe speculation on future lore and story for June through the summer. Unless some other spicy details come out, I do plan to move on to other aspects of this game, and I do plan to go over what this game succeeds at. Alright, I'm tired and tired of talking. Come say hi if you catch me out there somewhere. I'll update my logbook so you know it's me when not in all-ship matchmaking. Thanks for watching and listening to me yap again. Thank you for all of your support too. A 28 subscriber channel very, very rarely sees this kind of interaction, but that's because I know what I'm doing. I've been at this YouTube thing for the last 6 years, and you do not want to see some of my old stuff. Do I even have those old videos anymore? I guess I'll tack this on here at the end, but if you have any interest in supporting me, the best way to do that is leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing. I know it sounds redundant, but I promise it really does help. If you really want to go the extra mile, there is a Patreon link in my description in the video, but that's up to you, and no one is obligated to do any of the things I mentioned. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon.